Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Garage Shop Insider. I'm Tim Packman, your host. Thank you so much for all the episodes you've watched. And don't forget, hit that like, subscribe, tell your family and friends all about us and your buddies. We appreciate it. And next episode taking place right now, we are talking with Josh Schilling from Northern Colorado. You say you're a fabricator, but we'll find out here in a minute. You kind of do a bunch of different things. First of all, before we get started, Josh, thanks for being with us. What's your background in the racing or car industry?
It's varied. So, like a lot of kids, I started on a BMX bike, did some racing there, had some success along with some injuries. So graduated into the powered side of sports, motorsports, that is, and did some go-kart racing. Started, worked basic cart on up to a shifter cart, and again, had some success, had some fun, just local stuff. But I kind of transitioned to more the machining side of things. So that was my first job out of high school. I was a machinist, and kind of took the back seat of participation and more so like the production and the kind of the backside of the parts for quite a while, and then was able to kind of work back into it over the years. I managed a road course out there in Meade for gentleman Larry Miller. Obviously, he's kind of a big deal in Utah, and I had a small track about 1.25 miles in Meade, and kind of cut my teeth there as far as road racing goes, and been hooked ever since.
And how did you end up here at the Garage Shop?
Aaron Brown and I had kind of a storied internet relationship, if you would, and ended up being friends, out of the backside of it. And
so you're saying, did you get involved in one of his debates, let's call them?
Yeah, yeah, I think, so the conversation started because I have basically a NASCAR truck-based street-driven C10.
Okay.
And he's obviously got the 39, supposed to be street legal. And we've gone back and forth about who was driving more miles on the street. And, of course, he had to win that conversation.
Sure, yeah.
But through that, as he does, he was ruffling some other feathers, and I happened to come in for his backup on a couple of deals there, and just kind of became friends digitally, and had traveled out here just to check out the scenery and what was going on, and met with him, and about 1.5 years later, I was working for him. In fact, the first trip I took, you were there when we went to Prump, I guess, Blytheville, actually.
Blytheville, right? And then we went to Prump for the testing there. Yeah, I remember that. Blytheville, that was my first land speed experience. It was kind of like, holy crap, these cars all ass, but yeah.
Yeah, it was the same thing for me. And on that scale, I'd done motorcycle racing at Bonneville, but that was 2011, 2012, quite a while ago. And in the format that they use at Blytheville obviously is a little bit different too. But yeah, it was
a little
fun.
Shorter track.
Yeah, shorter for sure. Definitely got its challenges on the surface, but a great place overall.
So what's a typical day for you here at the Garage Shop?
Primarily fabrication, but I can kind of jump in on the mechanical side, kind of anywhere I'm needed, but primarily doing fab work right now.
So I'm going to ask you the same thing. When you see a car project come in and they say, here's what we got coming in, and the Vance bought it or whatever, if it's a customer, right away you start going, okay, what am I gonna do on this, and what's my part gonna be? Do you kind of decipher that real quick?
Yeah, you kind of find where you fit in on these deals. The exciting part is many of these projects that we've done, we have the opportunity to go race with them too and crew with them, which is kind of a cool opportunity. Not always do you get to build something and then go participate in the use of the vehicle. So it's something that's kind of unique to the Garage Shop, I think, and something I've enjoyed for sure.
So when you see one of these cars get on the land speed and they start setting records, what's that like for you, knowing you had a hand in that success?
It's pretty cool. You gotta, you got to be realistic. You know, you're just a small piece in the total puzzle. But you know, when we went out there and Aaron set the record with the 281 car, you know, there's just a lot of pride that comes along with it, especially, you know, kind of the adversity that we had to go through with the sanctioning body, you know, kind of the outsider, you know, bad boy type deal that we had to go through. But to go out there and crush the record with a legitimate car that, you know, that had been bumped by tenths for years and years, and, you know, we put lots and lots of mile per hour on it. It's a pretty prideful moment for sure.
So like when the garage shop shows up now, they're kind of like whereas you said they had to go to the adversity, now it's kind of like the litmus test. It's like, oh, here they are. Like, you know, the Donnie Elson car, they said back in the day, they got the nickname, oh, the Alabama, that damn Alabama gang's here again. It's kind of like the garage shop rolls in and they're like, oh, like, hey, let's see what they're going to do this time. And there's our competition right there.
Yeah, it is. And it's changed, you know, because when we would first show up, you know, we've got a stacker, a toter, multiple cars,
sure.
You know, 25 guys walking around doing our thing. We were definitely looked at as not your good old boy typical racers that you'd find in land speed racing, but you know, it didn't matter who you were, what you're racing, what class. If you came over and asked if we had something, if we did, we helped you. Mm-hmm. If you needed something welded, we helped you weld it, because it's legitimate desire to kind of grow that sport, you know, that realistically doesn't have a lot of eyes on it. So through that, we really kind of, aside from some of the authority, if you will, in the club, we were received really well, you know, honestly. And that was, like I say, from, you know, your beginner guy that needed some advice to the seasoned guy that didn't have that exact part or that exact machine welding or whatever, mm-hmm. and we were able to help out. So kind
of like short track racing, how people help each other out.
Yeah.
You know, you're competing against each other. Yeah.
Very similar. And just like the guy that rolls in from, you know, 2 states away, mm-hmm. It's tough when you first start, but you know, you gotta, I feel like if your motives are honest, which they were, we weren't trying to go out and beat up on nobody. People see that, and then they start appreciating what you do bring to the sport, you know, the advancements, and honestly, it pushes other people to do better too.
So far, everything you've done, do you have a favorite moment of your time in the garage shop?
Yes, I mean, setting those records with Aaron was pretty cool, you know, because we did it at Bonneville, and then a week later we were doing it in El Mirage, and that's something that rare if ever happens. And you know, we kind of we put our foot down on some stuff, and they came to the table, and we were able to get it all dealt with, and it was smoothed over. We took our records home, and you know, like I said, it was kind of a closure to a lot of real tense moments.
Sure.
So yeah, that was probably my best memory so far.
Speaking of memory, so you go to Bonneville, first time you're there, do you remember seeing it, and then you remember actually stepping on the salt for the first time? Can you share that? So growing up in Colorado, naturally, you know, being used to ski resorts, right?
You know, you get that in your head that when you see this, it's going to be cold. You kind of get in that mindset. So when you jump out of the truck and it's 110 degrees, right, and you're worried about putting suntan lotion on things that probably don't normally do, right, like, you know, it's kind of a mind melt, and it's the moon. It really is the moon, but it's the mecca of hot rodding. Everybody needs to do it if you're into hot rodding, and especially because who knows how long this is going to be able to be available. Mm-hmm. You know, salt's not getting any better. Right. It's really something that everybody's got to check out, because it's like NHRA, all the cool stuff about NHRA shrunk down and personal. Right. You know, you can go into anybody's pits, they'll talk to you. You sit in their car if you want, for the most part, you know. Just a bunch of good old boys having fun. So,
speaking of the cars, the variety that's out there, you've got like a Pro Mod, you've got a motorcycle, you've got a Roadster, then you got the Streamliner, which, God bless the guys that drive those things. Unbelievable that, you know, what they do. But so when you see that as someone who's been involved with different types of motorsports, to be around it all at one time, what's that kind of like for you?
It's cool. It's very diverse. I mean, you like you say, you go from motorcycle Streamliner to potentially the fastest piston-driven vehicle in the world, and it kind of everything in between. It's really cool because there's challenges to each one, and they're not different, but they're not the same either. So,
well, very good. Well, hey, I appreciate you talking with us, Josh.
Absolutely.
Appreciate your insight and all the different diversity things you've done, and I'm glad you're enjoying your time here at the Garage Shop. Yeah, man, it's been good. I enjoy the people and the things that we do. It's definitely a unique place to work, and my truck's still more of a street truck than Aaron's will ever be. So, I'll let him end on that. Thank you very much for joining us today with Josh Schilling from you two. Always the zingers. I love it. Thanks for watching us. Like we said, hit that like, subscribe, tell your friends and family and even your enemies about us or your frenemies. We'd appreciate it. So thanks for tuning in for this episode. I'm your host, Tim Packman, and we sincerely appreciate all of you.